Federal Pacific panels manufactured before 1986 are not Underwriters Laboratories, or all listed. Those manufactured after 1986 are UL listed. Premise 1986 Federal Pacific panels should be reported as a potential hazard because they are known for failing to trip when an electrical fault occurs, which can lead to electrical fires and other safety risks. Post-Minus 1986 Federal Pacific panels can be considered safe if properly installed and maintained. However, some experts still recommend replacing them due to concerns about potential defects. An energized metal grid is a serious electrical hazard that should be addressed immediately. The nicked wire in the Romex connector is allowing electricity to escape into the metal ceiling grid. Contact a qualified electrician to repair the wire and ensure the safety of the electrical system. For Premise 1986 Federal Pacific panels, recommend replacement by a licensed electrician. For Post-Minus 1986 panels, a visual inspection and electrical testing by a qualified electrician can determine if they are safe. If any concerns are raised during the inspection or testing, recommend replacement. Educate homeowners about the potential hazards associated with Federal Pacific panels. Provide a detailed inspection report that clearly outlines any safety concerns and recommends appropriate actions to address them. Identifying potential electrical hazards is paramount in ensuring safety. When it comes to electrical panels, a thorough understanding of their history, certification, and common issues is crucial. Federal Pacific Electric, or FPE, panels have been a subject of scrutiny due to their performance and safety record. Knowing the characteristics of these panels and how to assess them is essential for home inspectors, electricians, and homeowners alike. Before delving into the specifics of FPE panels, it is important to understand the role of Underwriters Laboratories, or all. UL is a globally recognized safety certification company that tests and evaluates products to ensure they meet specific safety standards. A UL listing indicates that a product has been tested and meets these standards, providing a level of assurance to consumers and professionals. Electrical panels, like other electrical equipment, are typically required to be UL listed to ensure they meet safety requirements. The presence of a UL listing mark on an electrical panel signifies that it has undergone rigorous testing and complies with established safety standards. However, not all electrical panels are created equal, and some may have issues that affect their performance and safety, even if they are UL listed. FPE panels have a history that warrants careful attention. Panels manufactured before 1986 did not have UL listing. Those manufactured after 1986 were UL listed. However, concerns persist regarding their reliability and potential safety hazards. One of the main issues associated with FPE panels is their tendency to fail to trip when an electrical fault occurs. Circuit breakers are designed to trip and cut off power when an overload or short circuit is detected, preventing potential damage and electrical fires. However, some FPE panels have been found to have a high failure rate, meaning that the circuit breakers may not trip as intended, even in dangerous situations. This can lead to overheating, arcing, and ultimately, electrical fires. The reasons for the high failure rate of FPE panels are complex and may involve design flaws, manufacturing defects, and aging components. Studies and investigations have revealed that some FPE circuit breakers may have difficulty tripping under overload conditions or may become stuck in the on position, even when they should be off. This poses a significant risk to the safety of the electrical system and the occupants of the building. One common scenario that highlights the danger of FPE panels is an energized metal grid. This occurs when a wire becomes damaged or nicked, allowing electricity to leak into a metal structure such as a ceiling grid or a metal conduit. If the circuit breaker fails to trip, the metal grid can become energized, posing a shock hazard to anyone who comes into contact with it. The presence of an energized metal grid is a clear indication of a serious electrical problem that requires immediate attention. Identifying FPE panels is the first step in assessing their potential hazards. These panels are typically labeled with the Federal Pacific Electric name and logo. The label may also include information about the panel's voltage, amperage, and other electrical specifications. However, the presence of an FPE label does not automatically mean that the panel is unsafe. Some FPE panels may be functioning properly, while others may have hidden defects that could pose a risk. Therefore, it is important to conduct a thorough inspection of the panel to assess its condition and performance. When inspecting an FPE panel, there are several things to look for. Firstly, check for any signs of damage, such as cracks, rust, or corrosion. These can indicate that the panel has been exposed to moisture or other environmental factors that could affect its performance. Secondly, inspect the circuit breakers for any signs of overheating, such as discoloration or melting. This can indicate that the breakers are overloaded or not functioning properly. Thirdly, test the circuit breakers to ensure that they trip properly when an overload or short circuit is simulated. This can be done using a circuit breaker tester or by carefully creating a controlled fault condition. If any of the circuit breakers fail to trip, this is a clear indication that the panel is unsafe and should be replaced. In addition to inspecting the physical condition of the panel and testing the circuit breakers, it is also important to assess the overall electrical system. This includes checking the wiring, outlets, and other electrical components to ensure that they are in good condition and meet current safety standards. Look for any signs of loose connections, damaged insulation, or other electrical hazards. If any problems are found, they should be corrected by a qualified electrician. When evaluating FPE panels, it is important to consider the age of the panel. Panels manufactured before 1986 are generally considered to be higher risk than those manufactured after 1986, as they may not have been subjected to the same quality control standards. However, even newer FPE panels can have issues, so it is important to conduct a thorough inspection regardless of the age of the panel. If you encounter an FPE panel during a home inspection or electrical assessment, it is important to document your findings in a detailed report. The report should include information about the panel's age, condition, and any potential hazards that were identified. It should also include recommendations for addressing any safety concerns, such as replacing the panel or conducting further testing. When writing a report about FPE panels, it is important to use clear and concise language that is easy for homeowners and other non-experts to understand. Avoid using technical jargon or complex electrical terms that may be confusing. Instead, focus on explaining the potential hazards in simple terms and providing practical advice for addressing them. In addition to documenting your findings in a report, it is also important to educate homeowners about the potential risks associated with FPE panels. Many homeowners may not be aware of the issues with these panels and may not realize that they could be putting their safety at risk. Take the time to explain the potential hazards and answer any questions that they may have. Encourage them to consult with a qualified electrician to have their electrical system inspected and to address any safety concerns. When recommending a course of action for addressing FPE panels, it is important to consider the individual circumstances of each situation. In some cases, replacing the panel may be the best option, especially if the panel is old, damaged, or has a history of problems. In other cases, it may be possible to improve the safety of the panel by replacing the circuit breakers or making other repairs. However, it is important to consult with a qualified electrician to determine the most appropriate course of action. Replacing an electrical panel is a significant undertaking that should only be done by a qualified electrician. It involves disconnecting the power to the building, removing the old panel, installing the new panel, and reconnecting the wiring. It is important to follow all applicable electrical codes and safety standards to ensure that the new panel is installed properly and safely. Upgrading an electrical panel can also provide an opportunity to improve the overall safety and performance of the electrical system. For example, you may want to consider adding surge protection to the panel to protect against power surges, or upgrading the wiring to handle increased electrical loads. These upgrades can help to improve the reliability and safety of the electrical system and provide peace of mind for homeowners. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to prioritize safety. Electricity can be dangerous, and even a small mistake can have serious consequences. Always follow proper safety procedures and wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to leave it to a qualified electrician. In addition to following safety procedures, it is also important to stay up to date on the latest electrical codes and standards. Electrical codes are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. By staying informed about these changes, you can ensure that your electrical work is safe and compliant. There are many resources available to help you stay up to date on electrical codes and standards. These include the National Electrical Code, or NEC, which is the most widely used electrical code in the United States, as well as publications from organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IE, and the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. In conclusion, Federal Pacific electric panels can pose a safety risk if they are not properly inspected and maintained. It is important to be aware of the potential hazards associated with these panels and to take appropriate steps to address them. By following the recommendations outlined in this guide, you can help to ensure the safety of your electrical system and protect yourself and others from electrical hazards.